Hello everyone. Today I want to show you the second version of my ShulkerBox based multi-item sorting system, as well as show off a highly experimental third version over there towards the end of the video. Now, for the benefit of all the people that might have not watched the first video, I'm quickly going to explain what exactly this is and what it can do. So, for starters, this is a MIS, so a multi-item sorting system, meaning that you can sort several types of items into the same slice. That greatly increases the density of items in your chest wall, meaning you need a comparatively small space to store pretty much every single item in the game. So this right now, with its 40 chests, is capable of sorting every item in the game and then some. Now, the second part about this is that it's ShulkerBox based, meaning it doesn't actually take any items as an input. So you always have to sort items through an intermediate of a ShulkerBox as a sort of carrier. So for example, if I have a whole bunch of items here, you have to input them into this display box if you wanted to input them into the system. Like so. They will end up in this chest and it will sit here until I've finished inputting all my stuff. So I'll put these 3 boxes here as well. And if you then want to confirm the input, you just press this button here. And if it's ShulkerBoxes, they will end up getting sent up here. And they're going to get distributed equally among these 4 ShulkerBox splitters here. Now the principle here is identical to the last system. I've just made some very, very large improvements to these splitters. They've gotten significantly bigger, as I'm completely incapable of making things 1 white tileable or even 2 white tileable. However, previously I've been using Data's AB tileable ShulkerBox splitters that run at about 9,000 items an hour each, meaning I was able to get, accounting for losses of sorting, about 32,000 items an hour sorting speed. Now each and every single one of these splitters is capable of sorting items between 15 and 30,000 items an hour, depending on what's in there. So on average they will sort items at about 23,000 items an hour. If all 4 of them are running simultaneously, due to the bottleneck that I had with the old system as well, whereby the sorter just gets overwhelmed with boxes at some point and slows the entire system down a bit. This thing is actually capable of sorting between 60,000 to 100,000 items an hour, with about 23,000 items an hour on average per box, depending on what's in the boxes. To quickly show off these splitters, as you can see, the items get inputted at the top here via this instant dropper line made by Maizuma. It's also the same one I use at the top of the sorter here. The items are then unloaded out of the box with hopper mechanics, otherwise you wouldn't be able to get faster than hopper speed sort of speeds out of them. They will unload the items sequentially from the box. So for example, if it were to unload dirt, it would skip the signs and would unload the second set of dirt first. So it can put all of the items into this box right here. So you can see it fills significantly faster than hopper speed. And after the boxes have then been quote-unquote purified, they get sent over here to this dispenser, which then inputs them into the sorter. Now you might ask, why are we doing this entire step here to begin with? Well, because the sorter is only capable of sorting a box based on the item in the first slot. Meaning, if there were to be a whole bunch of different items in them, like so, it would sort the items into the slot that has iron blocks in them. But it would also sort all of the other items into that slot, and obviously poisonous potatoes don't belong in a chest that has like rare earth materials in it, like this. So you need to split the boxes into the individual item types. Now, once that's happened, the sorter will then take the box. It will pull out 1 item from it to check against all of these chests. We're going to see that happen here in a second. They will then be sent under them, every single one of them, and will check. If there's a match, it will select the slice over here. There you go, we've just seen it happen. So an item has been pulled out of this chest, or this one, I don't know, didn't see exactly. Another improvement I've made here is also with the speed of the actual sorter. As you can see, there's now a demi-bolt down here. Fairly neat invention by Inspector Talon. That is effectively just a piston bolt, so 20 blocks per second, but it's significantly simpler to build as you only have to curve half the rails and you can have basically any other rail in between. Also, they don't need to be connected with redstone directly anymore. You can just have a detector rail, basically passively push the minecart forwards. That's reduced the sorting time per ShulkerBox from, I think it was 11 seconds to 8.5 now. The boxes then get sent over here and get sorted into their respective place and unloaded right here, and then get put directly into their chest stack at about 9,000 items an hour. Now, you can also prevent the unloading from occurring, so if you just want the boxes directly, you can also have that, and the boxes will then end up directly in the slice. The way you do that is twofold. You can either bypass the unloader here with this lever, or you can input a box that is completely full of items, such as this. Since this box only has one item type in it, we don't need to split it, so we can directly insert the items. Let's see if we get lucky. Probably not. There is our box. Let's see if it pulls it out immediately or if I'm gonna have to wait for the end of the sorting cycle. I'm probably gonna have to wait for the end of the sorting cycle to demonstrate this, but either way, it is going to sort the box that you've just seen there. There's a little check down here when the box gets its item put back into it to check the signal strength. Meaning right now this is set so that a box that is more than 2/3 of the way full will just never get unloaded and will be put directly into its slice. This might have already happened with one of my example boxes. Oh yeah, there you go. Didn't have to wait for the end of the sorting cycle. There it is. The brown ShulkerBox that we just inputted with nothing but dirt in it has just been put into the slice directly. And oh yeah, the other one, there was a box that had a lot of gravel in it and some other stuff. Also got bypassed, and it ended up right here instead. Now this automatic bypass can be set to like any amount that you want to set it to. It's just important that if you set this to a very low amount, you're gonna have to think about refilling the empty ShulkerBox storage for the splitters a lot more often, because when this runs out of boxes, these would completely break. So the system actually, with this pink line right here, will just completely pause itself and wait until you input more boxes or it gets more boxes from the unloaders before it continues. There's also an indicator light for this. The system also just finished sorting. There's also an indicator light for this. If this lamp is on, you can input ShulkerBoxes into the slice here. You go, I'll show that. It's very important, like this angry red sign here says, that you only input ShulkerBoxes into this and no items and no partially filled boxes either. Now as you can see, once the storage here is full, they will end up in this chest here instead. This is like a buffer for empty boxes as well, where you can just have this chest here in the back and access any empty ShulkerBoxes you might want or need. Now as you've seen already, the system is now done sorting. The only thing that's now left is probably some unloading steps here. And yeah, this probably only took about 5 minutes. I think the average sorting time per full ShulkerBox is about 4.5 minutes with these splitters now, which is actually quite nice. And yeah, something else? Right, yes, so overflow. Any items that are not in any of the whitelisters will end up in this overflow slice here. As you can see, we didn't have ender pearls in any of the whitelisters. As you can see, unstackable items will also end up in here. There's also a chest down here, just like with the encoder chests for all the other items. There's an empty encoder chest here that has to have an empty white ShulkerBox in the first slot. Otherwise, the system wouldn't be able to sort empty ShulkerBoxes and would completely break. So make sure that that's there. This is the first encoder chest at the beginning, right here. It also always has a copy, effectively, of any item that is not in any of the whitelister slices. So, for example, if I were to take jungle logs, which I know I'm currently not sorting, in there, bypass the splitter, because otherwise this is going to take a while, and send them in. This is, by the way, also if you were to lose track of all of the items you put in all of the whitelisters and you want to put another item in one of the whitelisters, you would have to check whether or not the item is already in any of the whitelisters, because if you have a duplicate either in the same chest of an item like this, the system would break, or if you have a duplicate of an item in 2 separate chests like this, the system would also break. So always make sure if you input a new item that it is not already in any of the chests. As you can see, that just finished, and we should now have jungle logs here. Also going to take the ender pearls. Now say you want to configure a new slice or a new item. You walk up to the encoder chest, you click the item into your hand, and you replace one of the filler items. So in this case I called them encoder items, and just click it in there. Now this is done, and congratulations, there is now a new type of item in your chests. Now for 16 stackables such as the ender pearl, this is a little bit more complicated, since the 16 stackables basically weigh 4 times as much as a regular item. If you were to just do this, the slice wouldn't work anymore, so you also have to remove 3 other items, so that you remove 4 items in total in order for this to work again. So if you want to test this, if you remove the pearl, it should make a very loud and horrible noise, and if you put it back again, it should make that same noise again. But importantly, if you remove anything else, it should also make that noise, and should also make that noise when you put it back again. Now, if you have encoder items in your inventory, don't store them anywhere, and most definitely do not put them anywhere in the input, as that would completely break the system. It would just suck all of these encoder chests dry, and that would completely break everything. So if you have them, just do me a favor and get rid of them. Just delete them, burn them, anything. Feed them to the ender dragon if you really want. Yeah, also make sure that this chest will become fairly full at some point, especially when you've just finished building this system. And at that point, items will overflow into the rest of the overflow. So basically all the items that were supposed to be down here will end up here instead. But once the overflow also overflows eventually, or any of the other slices overflow eventually, you are at risk of losing items. So if you're using the system, always make sure that you keep track of the amount of items that are in these chests. Obviously right now they're all empty. But if I walk over here, you can see there's already a bunch of items in here. A little bit extra here as well. And you can then just take these, consolidate them. I would already probably take this dirt and walk up to the console with it, to throw it in the ShulkerBox. Bypass, there you go, to put that into the chest directly, in order to basically just save on space. Now, another reason to check the chests every once in a while, not just for sorting reasons, is also that every once in a while, let's see if it happened anywhere here, it can happen that when the unloader unloads ShulkerBoxes, when it breaks the ShulkerBox again, that the empty ShulkerBox will end up in one of the slices because of a quirk of this unloader here. This is the smallest unloader I can find that is really simple to build, so I've used it and I kind of ignored this because it's not that important. But yeah, every once in a while you have to kind of go through here and clean out some of the empty ShulkerBoxes that are going to sit here and put them back in the input, to also make sure that the system around here doesn't ever run out of ShulkerBoxes, as that would hold the entire sorting process, and this lamp would then be on, as I said earlier. Anything else? Probably, oh yeah, right. You can also sort ShulkerBoxes based on a particular type. So for example, if I have a renamed item here in the first slot, remember the actual sorter sorts ShulkerBoxes based on what's in the first slot. So I want to take this box and I want to put it into a particular slice. Like for example, I have a slice somewhere that has prep boxes in it that I were to just swap into my ender chest when I need them. I can have these renamed items in a just slice on their own, and when I then take the item and input it, in this case obviously we want to not split it, we want to not unload it either, so flick both of those on, then you can input it, and the box will just go into the slice directly without doing anything. If you don't want to have to flick the lever to do this every time, you can also just build a slice that doesn't have the entire top unloader bit here. So all boxes were to just immediately go into the slice. Where is it? And there it is. You can also modify the slices pretty much to do whatever you want them to do. The box gets merged with its item that's taken out at the front down here again. So you can basically modify after the point where it comes out of the instant dropper line, you can basically modify the slice to do whatever you want. You can make a bulk storage slice, for example. As I said, you can make a slice for your ender chest boxes that don't get unloaded. And you can make a whole bunch of other stuff here. You can also increase the amount of chests, or basically the amount of space the storage has, by basically just moving all of this up. Just note that you also have to move up the bus line at that point and increase the instant dropper line here by a block in height. You might have to expand that top bit a bit, and just be wary of all of the in and outputs that the system has in various places. But yeah, technically speaking, you can increase the chest height here as well if you want more storage. Anything else? Well, I have this handy little list here, so I don't forget anything. Right, yes, versions. This relies on card heating over here for the ShulkerBox splitters, meaning this only works in versions 1.19 and up. Otherwise, the hopper minecart is going to split into a hopper and a minecart and break. So yeah, versions 1.19 and up. The new input, yes, I've redesigned the input a lot from the old system because I just didn't like it, and this is a lot better now. New splitter, as I've already said, the new splitter is significantly bigger, significantly bulkier, but also significantly faster. If anyone has the brains to make something that is not this bulky, and maybe possibly is even faster, because that would also speed the system up by quite a lot, just be my guest, attempt. I failed. Then, right, the auto unloading bypass over there I've already shown. Slice adjustments I've already shown. Right, yes, unloaders. So this particular version here of this unloader, this was not made by me. This can be modified to have an activator rail down here and a hopper minecart to unload the items at double hopper speed. I think I've done this twice in this chest hall here. You can technically do this with every single one of them, but note that 40 hopper minecarts just sitting around are going to be immensely laggy, especially because there's already 2 hopper minecarts just sitting here for the storage itself. There's always one sitting in every single one of the splitters, and there's also one sitting here that actually needs to be configured. So it's sitting on top of 4 hoppers that all have a filler item in them, a different kind, so 1 to 4. And this then also has the 1 to 4 in them and a filler item in the back here to effectively always take out these filler items from this minecart here, so that it's only the item that it was actually unloading at the time going over this detector rail here. And obviously in the back here for loading the items back into the box here to achieve that at more than hopper speed, there is also a hopper minecart here on top of 4 hoppers to equally distribute the items in there and to have them go in there at more than hopper speed. So here is already like 4, 8, 12, and then these two, so then 14 minecarts just sitting around. It's already kind of not so super lag friendly, so I wouldn't go completely overboard with this. Cool, what else? Alright, I just ended up talking about the hopper minecart setup. That's mainly for the splitters. There needs to be a minecart here as a filter item, and also this right here is a bit awkward. You need to curve this rail up like this and also have another regular rail down here facing this way without connecting to this. So setting this up is directional as well. I think that's probably also on the list. So this entire storage is directional because of this little trick I have to do here to have the minecart set up correctly, then wait here and then get put over here. So this only works facing north, and then basically if you stand here facing north and south, and then going from east to west. There might be another direction this works in, because it's the problem why this is directional is because if a minecart comes driving along here and stops on this rail or snaps to this rail, in some directions it will just stand there and stop, but in other directions, because of weird quirks of hopper minecarts, it will actually inch over a little bit in this direction, meaning it would activate this detector rail, and there's a powered rail here, meaning it would just drive off instantaneously, it wouldn't stop here. So that's why this is directional. Yes, something else, probably, what else is in here? Directional, I can just put that away. 16 cycleballs I've already shown. Box in the first slot is really important, otherwise you can't start empty boxes. No duplicates in the whitelisters I've already said as well. The bypasses I've already shown off as well. I'll just quickly do that. Unstackable items also just go on the overflow. Overflow management I've also already talked about. Basically this means that make sure that these chests never overflow, especially the last one. That would net you lost items and possibly break stuff, so just be aware of that. Empty box refilling, you have the lamps on, and just make sure that the splitters never run dry of empty boxes. And then yes, you can have empty boxes in the slices every once in a while because of a quirk of the unloader. Just check your chests every once in a while, take them out, and put them back into the system so that they don't get lost somewhere. Cool, that was, I think, everything. So now I'll quickly show off the big boy. Now, you might immediately recognize that this is basically just the same splitter tiled 9 times, and that is correct. However, there's some more differences here. As I said, this would bottleneck at some point because the sorter isn't actually fast enough. So I've borrowed a method by Lumifief here to instantly take the items out of these whitelisters and send them over, so that I can input a box every 3 seconds instead of every 8.5 seconds. However, this means I have to do this gigantic block of redstone at the top here to deal with the incoming boxes if I still want to do like signal strength detection of the boxes, because that's now sliced based and not universal anymore. That led to this entire mess here. My only attempt at making something more tileable, and I'm sure you can probably make it cleaner or better than this. Either way, this can still effectively have almost any signal strength for this line here, to only unload the boxes when you want to unload them, to basically still be able to pick at what signal strength the box actually gets unloaded. Besides that, this is completely identical system-wise, but since it is not in any way, shape or form capped anymore by the sorter, because that's now significantly faster, and because we have a lot more splitters, this system is a lot faster. So this right here sorts items at an average of 190,000 items an hour. That is about 22 times hopper speed. So as you can see, 135 to 260, that's again because of the variability in how long it takes a single box to actually get split, depending on what's actually in the box. The boxes, let me see if I have an example here somewhere. So for example, a box like this, where there's a lot of different unique items in it, so like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, blah blah blah. Every single time the system has to switch item type, it adds a good couple of seconds to the overall sorting time. So it kind of hates variety. A box that only has a single item type in it, like our dirt box from earlier for example, would get unloaded about 30,000 items an hour. And a box that has one item type per slot would get unloaded at about 15,000 items an hour. Meaning it would take the system significantly longer, to like twice as long pretty much, to unload the box or to split the box, which is where that discrepancy or variation comes from. That 260,000 items an hour comes from sorting full boxes, which obviously you don't need to do. You can just input full boxes directly into the sorter. But yeah, it is technically speaking the maximum speed of this. But yeah, average speed is about 190,000 items an hour. Yes, this is also highly experimental at this point in time, so this might not work. This is technically speaking all scaled up, but I haven't done extremely vigorous testing with it. Either way, this can sort, if I remember correctly, an entire chest here of items, so like 27 shulker boxes in about 15 minutes, if I remember correctly. That's obviously kind of ridiculous. Also, oh yeah, I forgot to mention, empty boxes from the splitters will end up in this empty box chest here. The input here is identical to the other system as well. Yeah, anything else? Yes, so over here I have this set up with like random boxes with a whole bunch of crap in them. If you want to test this yourself, I'm going to leave a world download of this world in the description. And if you press this button on this command block, it will just replenish this entire area, so you can play around with like random boxes as much as you want. Also, these two command blocks here, they're also on the other platform. If you press them, and there's items, which there's currently some items here. If I press this button, it will just empty all of the double chests. But yeah, that's kind of it from me. As I've already said, there's going to be a vault download in the description. If you have any questions, you can either leave them in the comments, or you can also find me lurking around on the Storage Tech Discord server. But yeah, beyond that, I hope you have a nice rest of your day, and goodbye.